Torak woke with a jolt from a sleep he'd never meant to have. The fire burned low. He crouched in the fragile shell of the light and peered into the looming blackness of the forest. He couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything. Had it come back? Was it out there right now, watching him with its hot, murderous eyes? He felt hollow and cold. He knew that he badly needed food, and that his arm hurt. His eyes were scratchy with tiredness, but he couldn't really feel it. All night he'd guarded the wreck of the spruce bough shelter and watched his father bleed. How could this be happening? Only yesterday, they'd pitched camp in the blue autumn dusk. Torak had made a joke. His father was laughing. Then the forest exploded. Ravens screamed, pines cracked, and out of the dark, beneath the trees, surged a deeper darkness, a huge, rampaging menace in bare form. Suddenly, death was upon them, a frenzy of claws, a welter of sound to make the ears bleed. In a heartbeat, the creature had smashed their shelter to splinters, and in a heartbeat, it had ripped a ragged wound in his father's side. But then it was gone, melting into the forest as silently as mist. But what kind of bear stalks men, then vanishes without making the kill? What kind of bear plays with its prey? And where was it now? Torak couldn't see beyond the firelight, but he knew that the clearing too was a wreck of snapped saplings and trampled bracken. He smelt pine blood and clawed earth. He heard the soft, sad bubbling of a stream 30 paces away. The bear could be anywhere. Beside him his father moaned. Slowly he opened his eyes and looked at his son without recognition. Torak's heart clenched. "It's me," he stammered. "How do you feel?" Pain convulsed his father's lean brown face. His cheeks were tinged with grey, making his clan tattoos stand out vividly. Sweat matted his long dark hair. His wound was so deep that as Torak clumsily stanched it with beard moss, he saw his father's guts glistening in the firelight. He had to grit his teeth to stop himself from retching. He hoped Far didn't notice, but of course he did. Far was a hunter, and he noticed everything. "Torak," he breathed. His hand reached out, his hot fingers clinging to Torak's as eagerly as a child. Torak swallowed. Sons clutched their father's hands, not the other way round. He tried to be practical, to be a man instead of a boy. "I've still got some yarrow leaves," he said, fumbling in his medicine pouch with his free hand. "Maybe that'll stop the— Keep it. You're bleeding too." "It doesn't hurt," lied Torak. The bear had thrown him against a birch tree, bruising his wrists, ribs, and gashing his left arm. "Torak, leave now, before it comes back." Torak stared at him. His mouth opened, but no sound came. "You must," said his father. No, I can't, Torak. I'm dying. I'll be dead by sunrise." Torak gripped his medicine pouch. There was a roaring in his ears. "Far, give me what I need for the death journey. Then get your things." "The death journey? No." But his father's face was stern. "My bow," he said, "3 arrows. You keep the rest. Where I'm going, hunting's easy." There was a tear in the knee of Torak's buckskin leggings. He dug his thumbnail into the flesh. It hurt. It was good. He forced himself to concentrate on that. "Food," gasped his father. "The dry meat. You take it all." Torak's knee had begun to bleed, but he kept on digging. He tried not to picture his father on the death journey. He tried not to picture himself alone in the forest. He was only 12 summers old. He couldn't survive on his own. He didn't know how. "Torak, move!" Blinking furiously, Torak reached for his father's weapons and laid them at his side. He divided up the arrows, pricking his fingers on the sharp flint points. Then he shouldered his quiver and bow, and scrabbled in the wreckage for his small basalt axe. His hazelwood pack had been smashed in the attack. He'd have to cram everything else into his jerkin or tie it to his belt. He reached for his reindeer hide sleeping sack. "Take mine," murmured his father. "You never did repair yours. And swap knives." Torak was aghast. "Not your knife, you'll need it." "You'll need it more. And it'll be good to have something of yours on the death journey." "Far, please don't." In the forest a twig snapped. Torak spun around. The darkness was absolute, but everywhere he looked, every shadow was bear-shaped. No wind, no birdsong. Just the crackle of the fire and the thud of his heart. The forest itself seemed to be holding its breath. His father licked the sweat from his lips. "It's not here yet," he said. "Soon, it'll come for me soon. Quick, swap the knives!" Torak didn't want to swap knives. That would make it final. But his father was watching him with an intensity that was not allowed a refusal. Clenching his jaw so hard that it hurt, Torak took his own knife and he put it into Far's hand. Then he untied the buckskin sheath from his father's belt. Far's knife was beautiful and deadly, with a blade of banded blue slate shaped like a willow leaf, and a haft of red deer antler that was bound with elk sinew for a better grip. As Torak looked down at it, the truth hit him. He was getting ready for life without Far. "I'm not leaving you!" he cried. "I'll fight it! No! No one can fight this bear." Ravens flew up from the trees. Torak forgot to breathe. "Listen to me," hissed his father. "A bear! Any bear! You know it's the strongest hunter in the forest. You know that. But this bear is much stronger." Torak felt the hairs on his arm rise. Looking down into his father's eyes, he saw the tiny scarlet veins, and at the centres of the fathomable darkness. "What do you mean?" he whispered. "What? It is possessed." His father's face was grim. He didn't seem like Far anymore. Some demon from the other world has entered it and made it evil. An ember spat. The dark trees leaned closer to listen. "A demon," said Torak. His father shut his eyes, mustering his strength. "It lives only to kill," he said at last. "With each kill, its power will grow. It will slaughter everything. The prey, the clans, all will die. The forest will die," he broke off. "In one moon, it'll be too late. The demon too strong. One moon. But what? Think, Torak. When the red eye is highest in the night sky, that's when the demons are strongest. You know it. That's when the bear will be invincible." He thought for breath. In the firelight, Torak saw the pulse beating in his throat, so faint, as if it might stop at any moment. "I need you to swear something," said Far. "Anything." Far swallowed. "Head north. Many day walks. Find the mountain of the world spirit." Torak stared at him. "What?" His father's eyes opened. He gazed into the branches overhead, as if he saw things there that no one else could. "Find it," he said. "It's the only hope." "But no one's ever found it. No one can." "You can." "How? I don't—" "Your guide. He will find you." Torak was bewildered. Never before has his father talked like this. He was a practical man, a hunter. "I don't understand any of this," he cried. "What guide? Where must I find the mountain? Will I be safe there? Is that it? Safe from the bear?"